How flexible are you? Not physically, not with other people. How flexible are you with yourself? That's something we're going to explore today. And the need for flexibility, meeting yourself with where you're at, having grace for yourself. I'm literally re-recording this video. Thankfully, I didn't get too far in the first time, but I'm learning about phone storage and all the things as I'm, starting these videos, starting to create in this way, and learning all the technology part of it along the way. And so, just another quick example of needing to be flexible and just meet myself where I'm at and be like, all right, it's, something that I'm learning. I'm not going to be hard on myself. Um, like, sure, it would have been maybe more efficient if I had figured out the storage a bit earlier. And the thing is, I had already deleted some things and I thought I was good, and then I end up not being or having enough storage, and that's okay. So, but yeah, like being flexible is underrated, and it's something that can be very hard to do, I feel like, in the moment sometimes with ourselves. It can be really easy for me personally, at least, to look at other people and have more grace for them or to meet them where they're at. I mean, a lot of what I do personally as well in my career so far is, helping people essentially. And so my job is to literally meet them where they're at and help them build certain skills. So it's like I first have to see, okay, where are we? And, how can I help you? In the most basic form. So I'm used to that. I love that. And it can be really difficult to translate that to yourself sometimes. And this week I've really had to um, delve into being flexible um, and face procrastination, and especially procrastination with things that are good for me or things that I truly want to do or pursue. So, for example, right now, I'm procrastinating sleep a little bit. um, Sleep is something that I wouldn't call it like a love-hate relationship, but I definitely am not always balanced with my sleep. I am more of a night owl, and so I tend to want to stay up later, but then I definitely feel it in the morning if I don't get like a full 8 hours of sleep, which a lot of times I don't, especially like during the work week. Um, and the thing is, like, I could prioritize it a little bit more. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I get that full 8 hours in. But yeah, for me, and I know everyone's a little different with sleeping, where certain different people need a different amount of time to really feel truly rested. I know for myself, I need 8 hours, and it is something I still procrastinate, even though I know how good it feels when I have that full 8 hours of sleep. Like the process of doing the things before bed or just getting myself to bed. Like even like thinking about like how well I feel rested in the morning is not enough motivation usually in the moment to make that transition. And so sleep is just an example of something that's like good for me, that feels good when it happens, like, getting the full 8 hours, but then it's something I just kind of naturally push away and procrastinate. Um, and, I could shame myself, and I've done this in the past, and I do this still sometimes, of kind of feeling shame for or like blaming myself for not going to bed earlier or yeah, like just shame around like, oh, I should have this figured out by now, right? Like I don't know if that's something that maybe a belief pattern in your mind as well for certain things of like I should have this figured out. Um, A, that's not helpful in the end, and B, it's not compassionate to ourselves, and C, that's just going to set us up for failure. Kind of goes with along with A, but it really is just going to set us up for failure if we stick with that mindset. And so this is where flexibility and having self-compassion comes in. You have to meet yourself where you're at. And while we want to grow, maybe we want to try new things, we want to develop, maybe we want to change things in ourselves or in our schedules or in our routines, we want to make tweaks. We need to focus on one thing at a time, which is really hard for me because usually I'm like, I just want to do all the things. But truly, that's going to set myself up for failure. So it is truly one thing at a time, like with this, with recording of, all right, let me just one thing at a time. I'm going to figure out the storage issue. I'm going to re-record. It may or may not be as good as I thought, like the beginning of that last one was. That's okay. Like, I truly do also believe that things happen for a reason, and whatever needs to get out will get out in some manner. So, again, like just kind of meeting myself where I'm at. And that also brings me into kind of another point of allowing things to flow. So, I feel like flexibility and flow kind of go hand in hand. Like, being flexible with yourself, it's also like allowing events to just kind of flow around you, flow through you, like maybe allowing feelings to flow through you, um, and not fighting it and not pushing something, either trying to push something away or push yourself towards something. Like that pushing feeling can sometimes really get us stuck, um, or not be sustainable in the long term. So, allowing that flexibility, allowing that flow. All right, this is happening, and we're just going to do one thing at a time and just let it flow, and it'll work out. And usually, I feel like everything does eventually work out. Um, so, when I was procrastinating, so I talked about with sleep, and I wanted to bring up another example with these videos. So I've started this channel as a container to hold thoughts, feelings, ideas, different lessons that I've learned, things that I'm going through currently, um, as a way to just share this part of my experience, um, and just knowledge that I'm learning. And it's things that I might share with loved ones or friends sometimes, but probably not all of this is something that I share with everyone, or in conversation. So it's just a container to hold these things and to put it out there for. I truly think it'll be whatever it needs to be, like whatever that looks like, and whoever finds these videos when they find them, that it'll be helpful for some people finding these. So, with that said, I also decided to make these mostly unedited, um, at least at this point, because it's helping me. I'm meeting myself where I'm at by doing that, because I know the editing learning curve, although, I definitely see value in like edited videos and I have ideas of what that could look like. For me, getting started, that would not be meeting myself where I'm at. Um, with the time that I have right now to devote to videos and like making videos, and not just the time, but really that learning curve with editing. I know it takes a long time. like the process of editing itself, let alone learning it. And I'm not selling myself short. I know I could learn it, but it's just something that I'm like, I'm not focused on that right now. Excuse me. Ooh, got a tickle in my throat. But yeah, I'm not learning that right now. And honestly, those moments of like literally just me coughing, to me, that's like a benefit of unedited is it's making me show up more just like me and not worrying about, oh, did I say here too many times that I have to edit it out? Like I feel like that would be like it could kind of go in too far in the other direction of me overanalyzing. So for the purpose of these videos and of me getting started, I met myself where I'm at. And I didn't know right away, like as I was developing these things, like what exactly it would look like. I had thought about editing. I downloaded some editing apps, and then I realized, in the uploading process of like, oh, I can just upload it directly from my phone and just do it unedited and amazing. I did have to edit the one video recently because of phone storage and so I had to like put two videos together and so I'm like cool. So I'm learning some editing things along the way so that I could put those two videos together into one um, because it got split up because I had to delete things for storage. But with getting started, that was not going to happen at that time. And that's okay, but I'm still able to move forward with what I want to do here. And that brings me to another example with these videos. Like I had wanted to put this video out yesterday or to record a video yesterday, and I was feeling this pressure. I felt like this pressure and this want to procrastinate. And it's so crazy because, these videos are like just unedited. They're just something like on the side, just something, that I want to do. It's not anything that I have a certain outcome in mind. I'm like working on just really letting it go into the ether. And I truly think, this will become whatever it needs to become in time. But in the meantime, it's so crazy how fast that pressure wants to attach, and I'm having to kind of look at it and fight it away a little bit, of not letting that pressure attach to these videos of like needing a certain outcome or, however many views or like anything like that, or being so hard on myself, with scheduling. And so initially, I did want to keep the days I uploaded each week the same day, but I really was like feeling procrastination yesterday, and also there were other, there's other things going on, and I was procrastinating it, and then I got to a point where I'm like, well, I could stay up really late and do it, or I could just give myself some grace here and go to sleep. Like there's this, yeah, I'm noticing, and honestly, I'm giving myself grace here right now. I didn't really fully acknowledge this until now, but like just the fact that I was aware of that procrastination is a huge step in itself. I was becoming aware of like, okay, why am I getting this like conflicting feeling in myself when this is just something light and fun that I wanted to do, and like why am I feeling this pressure now and feeling like I want to procrastinate it like it's a chore that I don't want to do? Like why did my brain make that switch? And so, I noticed I was procrastinating, and I still went to bed and I'm like, tomorrow is a new day. And truly, um, like sure, I could be hard on myself. I could be like, well, I need to be more disciplined, in order to like make growth. I could XYZ, like I could shame and blame myself as much as I wanted. But um, honestly, as soon as I made that decision yesterday of I'm going to bed, I can do this tomorrow, I felt such relief. And I'm like, it's like it was like I just needed to give myself again, like just show myself that I can take charge, like that I am in the lead with this, like that I'm meeting myself where I'm at and I'm letting it flow, like whatever that looks like. And it might be, for the most part, I can post the same days, every week, but on weeks where things come up, my goal is to still post the same amount of videos a week. But also, again, if something really crazy comes up in a week and that doesn't happen, I'm going to let that flow. It just is what it is. And it might be difficult in the moment, like it was yesterday, but ultimately my goal is to let that flow, because if I shame and blame, all day, that's not going to be helpful. And it was just so interesting how quickly those feelings come up over something that's just fun. And it can so quickly seem like a chore. And so that's just something that I wanted to bring up as this example of being flexible, giving yourself grace, meeting yourself where you're at. Um, I also need to give myself grace, especially when, I'm trying to make changes in my routines or different habits. I know for me, screen time is a big one. I'm already pretty minimal on social media, but for me, it's YouTube videos or watching TV, or either videos or TV or something, either during the day or like both during the day and in the evening, like when I'm like we're having dinner, might be watching something, and then detaching from watching is difficult. Like if I want to do other things after dinner, um, sometimes it can be difficult for me to detach from screen time. And that's just something I've noticed about myself. And so, I felt like the same feeling sometimes where I am trying to, make a change in that area. And then if I go back to it, or I feel like, okay, this is something um, that, I kind of got stuck in again, I can feel guilty about it. But then I just have to look at that and be like, okay, why? Like just having grace for myself. And um, I want to share with you kind of what I did or what I do to have grace, because I feel like it can be hard to like know what that means. Like what does it mean to truly feel like you have grace with yourself? So when and I just did this today actually with just bringing up some things like the procrastination feeling that I was feeling, like trying to dig into what is happening underneath here. And I could do the same thing, with other things. Like if I'm trying to do sorry, again, I'm procrastinating on sleep right now, so my brain's running a little bit slower than usual. But trying to oh yeah, like do change my screen time habits when I'm feeling that guilt. If I feel like I've gone backwards, which it's not truly backwards, you're still moving forward, even if, maybe two steps forward, one step back, maybe, but you're still ultimately moving forward. But it might feel like you're going backwards. And so, in those moments when I'm feeling that, or when I'm feeling guilty, I'm going to try to do this kind of a thing more often, because a few times I've really dug into it this way, it's been extremely helpful. And so, what I did is I took a look at, well, I started with like meditation, just getting into like a meditative or just prayerful or just quiet space. Excuse me. Like as quiet or calm as you can kind of get. And I kind of have two different, I guess three different things that I looked at. So let me just kind of cognitively go through some of the concepts and then I'll go through kind of what I did with that. But, there's one thing that you can do is like inner child or inner child work, or, looking at yourself, that part of yourself that still feels like they're in childhood, basically. Um, there's also like internal family systems. I don't know a ton about it. I just know like the way I kind of use that general idea of a framework is just noticing things as different parts of me. So like that worry, like a worry is like, okay, that's one part of me. A fear is one part of me. That guilty feeling, if I feel like I'm falling back into a bad habit, that guilt is one part of me. And I look at that part and I separate it from myself. Essentially, you can just like visualize that however that looks like to you. But for me, it's just kind of seeing it, and I don't really like see a ton. It's just more of kind of going through the thought exercise of like, all right, this part, like I'm just acknowledging it as if I would acknowledge another person basically in the room with me. So I acknowledge that part or that inner child. And then the third thing is a belief system. So I was actually going through like thinking of a new habit actually that I would like to do. And I recognized an old belief system that's holding me back from fully kind of leaping into that new routine or that new habit. And so I took that belief system as like a third thing as well. So you can look at it as you're looking at your inner child or maybe a part of yourself or a belief system that is coming up that is holding you back. And with the which one should I start with? With the inner child, oof, this is like so cool. Um, it kind of goes back to my video about self-compassion. It definitely goes back to self-compassion. And it's like one of the ways I've found is like one of the ways to feel like deep love for yourself. Um, and you take a look at that inner child. For me, it's almost like just like the silhouette of like a child, maybe like crouched down in like an empty room. Like that's kind of how I picture it. Like just a little, like a child who's like afraid or fearful or worried, right? And they might be crouched down and look lonely and look maybe hopeless. And I look at that and I ask my inner child or ask that person, like however it's easiest for you to visualize, but ask, what do you need? Ask it, what do you want to tell me? What are you afraid of? And just let there be space. It's okay if you don't really picture anything or hear anything or feel anything, or even if like quote unquote like nothing happens, just the act of doing that and like allowing that space is beautiful. And whether you feel anything in that moment or not, then acknowledge like, thank you for everything you've done to keep me safe this far, or thank you for bringing those worries to me because those are important things to be aware of. Like acknowledge, and you want to talk to it as if you would reassure a child or a friend. So, okay, thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for, I understand why you're worried. Like, thank you for caring about those things. And then you get to reassure it. You get to reassure yourself. It's reassuring yourself. But you're looking at your inner child and you're saying, we can do this. I hear your worries. And guess what? You're worried about it because you care. And you get to, I know you have the tools to figure that out. Like you're smart. You can work through this. And you know what? I'm here with you. And then what's helpful for me is to just picture myself holding that child's hand and then just walking forward and kind of ending that kind of visualization or that meditation there. So feeling, giving them space and then encouraging them again as if you would a child of you've got this, like we can do this, and like you're smart, you can figure it out, but also I'm here with you too, so you're not alone and we'll do this together. And oh, it's just like so healing, so healing. And whew, it like gives me chills just thinking about it. Because if you're really bringing up these old feelings, or like things that are holding you back, or like these old fears, like that is moving to really be compassionate to that fear, right? Or to that worry, instead of pushing it away and pushing it away. Whew. And so I do a similar thing with the parts. I'm not going to go through it fully because it's basically the same thing of just acknowledging the part. I don't do like a walking away with it, like holding hands, but for me, it's like acknowledging it and letting it say what it needs to say. Again, even if you don't really hear anything, or, it's just acknowledging that part of you and giving it space, and then reframing it and encouraging it, because it's really encouraging yourself. It's just giving love and life into yourself. And then for me, for the part, instead of like walking away into the sunset, I allow that part to integrate back into myself. Sometimes I even like do that motion of like just kind of feeling it come back into myself. And then with a limiting belief that I just did today is, I notice a belief that's like holding me back from a new habit that I want to form. And so all I did was I separated that from myself, or I just, kind of pictured that I'm like looking at it, like almost in my hand, basically, of like, I see you, I'm acknowledging you, like I'm pulling you out of the back of my brain, like I'm pulling you out, I see you, and I don't need you anymore. Lovingly. I do kind of almost like if you've ever done like cord cutting or whatever kind of visualization helps you with this, you can kind of push it, put it away however you feel. But for me, it's just like you just kind of cut a cord, or, scissors. For me, I just kind of do a swiping motion because the hand motion just helps me, at least personally. And then I just push it away. All right, like we're done. And then I always think of what fills that space. And so then like an affirmation, or a belief that I do want to have, like I can uphold this, like it doesn't have to be hard, I can do this habit, like it flows easily to me, it's easy to maintain. Because for me, like with habits, it's always a fear of maintenance. It's like, okay, I'll get started, but because I'm someone who I love being like flowy, but also like there's value in discipline, and sometimes it can be very hard to marry the two together. And so when I try to start a new habit or break a habit, I'm always like, oh, like it just seems too hard to maintain that. And so that's where I have to go in the flow and like meet myself where I'm at and be flexible, because it's when I am very specific with what this habit needs to look like, that's where it can easily break down. And that goes back to one of my other videos as well, talking about possibilities. It goes back to opening myself up to other possibilities of, okay, what can this habit look like? Like, does it have to look like this, or can it look like multiple things? So, just allowing for that, again, it goes back to flexibility, of I can be flexible with what the process looks like and what the outcome ends up being, because it is truly all about the process and loving ourselves and supporting ourselves and living through the process of life. Until next time.